what's up everyone? Here back again. Sorry, been a while since I posted anything, but I got some news. I got a dual sport, which is a 2020 Yamaha XT250. So basically this is just a quick review on what I think and why I went with this bike instead of the Suzuki DRZ 400 or the 650. Main thing is the cost. This one's a lot cheaper, and I realized I've never done off-road at all, so I might as well start with something like a lower cc. And also the seat height's what really sold me. The seat height's only 31, about under 32 inches, so that's about where I'm at. It feels comfortable. I can flat foot both sides, and it's really super light. That was the other selling point too. Is like it weighed less than 300 pounds. It came in like around 290 wet or 291 wet. So that's pretty much it, what got me to pick this bike. And you know, it's great. It's fuel injected. I don't have to worry about you know, dealing with carbureted ones, just because at least, you know, it'll start up. You don't have to turn on the choke and whatnot. But overall, I think, you know, I made a good decision on getting this bike, specifically for my height and my capabilities and my skill level. So all that comes into play. And the fact that the Yamaha XT, it was actually this and then the TW200. I really wanted a TW200, but since I'm going to be doing more road than off-road, it made more sense to get the extra 50cc, and it's got a little bit more kick than the TW200. So, and also this bike is made in Japan, so that's another reason why I kind of bought it instead of, you know, I was close to getting the CRF250, the Honda one, but I heard it was assembled in China, so, and then and it's liquid cooled, so I have to deal with the radiator. You know, if I drop this bike out in the dirt, I don't have to worry about breaking like having my radiator busted or anything like that. But other than that, it's a solid bike. My only issue is that the skid plate, if you come on this side, a lot of the skid plates that they sell that fit this bike haven't really upgraded, especially if you live in California. California has this canister for the emissions, whatever, I don't even know. But if you put the skid plate, this thing is blocking it here, so you're gonna have to cut out the piece of the metal to just put it underneath it, because this is blocking, or you can raise it up. And you know, I don't have time to do any of that stuff. I don't have the tools to cut metal, so I'm gonna have to wait and see if they actually have one. So if you guys know of any places that have a California skid plate for this specific bike, it's a Yamaha XT250. It's a 2020, but I think it's from 2017 and up. They don't make the skid plate that, you know, that accommodates this canister right here. So a lot of them kind of move it up. I've seen people cut out pieces of metal, or they just remove it completely, which I wouldn't advise. You might not pass smog or anything like that. But that's the only concern. And then I got these handguards too. These are actually cheap. I got these on Amazon for $30, and I got it. The people that I rented the DRZ 650 from told me to get these ones. It's literally like $30 for a pair, and they said they beat them up all the time, they drop them, and they hold their value. So I got these on Amazon. I'll put the link below once I'm done with this review. And then it's fairly easy, you know. It took me a little bit to put it together, and then you just have to cut out these pieces right here on the hand, on the grips. So I had to cut that out. It's not the cleanest, a little tacky, but it works. And you just screw it all in. You screw it on this side, and all you need is a hex tool. And then the tricky part is this part where the throttle is. So when I put it on, it had this plastic piece that's covering the thing, so I couldn't put this rod inside. So what I had to do is I had to cut out this little piece. I know it looks really tacky, so I just had to cut it out to make sure that this piece would go in there, because it's too thick. It couldn't fit inside there, so I have to cut this piece out so I can put that thing in. But it doesn't mess up your throttle. You just got to cut out this piece of the plastic right here, and then boom, and it's in, and it's stable, it holds. So for $30 you can't go wrong with these handguards, because a lot of the ones I'm looking at, they're like 100, 120 up. So if you want to save some money, get these generic brands, and they hold up. You know, I dropped the bike yesterday and fortunately no scratches, and these things really saved my my levers from popping out. So yeah, so that's the first part of the review. I'm just waiting for my buddy Michael, and we're about to do a quick run at Griffith Park, so stay tuned. Alright, so Michael decided to show up, so we'll continue this review. Alright. Hi everyone, sorry for the bad audio, so I have to do this voiceover. So we're going to continue this review. Basically, the main thing I noticed about this bike overall is the brakes. Fortunately, that both the front and rear brakes are disc brakes, so it's kind of helpful that those bikes are both disc. I think back in 03 when they changed it, it had the rear drum. You know, they upgraded it to make it both disc brakes. And coming from an R3, like the first bike I ever rode had ABS, and that was super beneficial, because like you kind of get lazy, you know, you kind of like just squeeze the brakes really hard if you have to stop, or if you're not sure you want to commit to that yellow light turning about to turn red, and if you squeeze the brakes really hard on the R3 or any bike that has ABS, it's really smooth. It's like it's really gonna just slow down. It's not gonna lock up on you. But this bike, you really have to be careful braking hard on these bikes. I know they don't go that fast, but at the same time, if you're going 30 and you're going a stoplight or stop sign, you got to be careful when you squeeze the brakes. So you got to be gentle with the brakes, both the front and rear, so they won't lock up. I had it locked up on me a couple times, and I was able to just, you know, tap it off and then let go of the brakes and gently squeeze on them again. So you know, a hard lesson to learn when I'm riding this bike. But other than that, I think it's great, and you know, it helps me as a rider. That's the only thing. The brakes could be better. I don't know if you can get better brake pads, or you can update the brakes or whatnot. Yeah, so that's the beauty of it. And then you know, just cruising through here in Griffith Park. And other than that, it zips. You know, like look, you can see the digital dash. It has the speedometer, and it tells you the your odometer. It's got a clock, and it also has your trip. And then the cool thing about this bike too is that it has a fuel indicator. So if you're low, I think you have like a half a tank of gas left. And from what they told me, you can still do about 30 or 35 miles an hour once that light comes up. So that's kind of cool. And it starts right up. You know, like it was like 55 degrees, 60 degrees this morning, and I started it up cold, and it fired right up. I can't say anything more. You know, like I wish this was my first bike, because it's tall enough to where I can tiptoe on my feet, but at the same time, after riding this bike and when I hop on my R3, man, that R3 feels so low. Like I think I became a better rider after riding the XT250 when I hopped on my R3, because now I feel more comfortable on a bike that's tall. So when you get a sport bike that's a lot lower, then you can really like feel the difference. Like you can feel more confident, and this bike is great. It's just like it, you know, it doesn't haul ass, but it's got that power enough for you to not get in so much trouble, and you can just cruise along. You're upright, and you're just. The one thing I'm gonna do is actually change the seats. If there's another like a seat option, like I would change the seats, just because like after an hour my ass is hurting, like, you know, like, so I have to stand up sometimes. Like when I'm riding, I just stand right up when I'm riding. So that's one of the ways I can kind of just like alleviate pain in my butt after riding for like an hour. But other than that, man, it's like if you know how to ride a bicycle, this is the next best thing that just happens to have an engine. I know I've said it before, but like you want to get into motorcycles, you don't know what kind of bike you want, I highly suggest you get a dual sport that you can kind of tiptoe, or at least, you know, tall enough so that you can put both your feet down. And that's why I went with the Yamaha XT250 or the TW200, either one of those. But since I'm doing more road, I went with this. And then moving on, we're gonna go through some canyons. So here's a footage of riding in the canyons, and I'm just following Michael here. We're at Angeles Crest, and you know, look, see, like I'm just cruising here, probably going about, I don't know, 40 to 50, and then the whole way I was just in fourth gear, sometimes fifth, but mostly in fourth. And you know, it can handle canyons. You know, you can go to Angeles Crest, you can go to any canyon, and as long as you follow the lines, you're good. You know, it's like this bike can handle it really well. You can lean on it. Like, good thing about riding on R3 first before getting on this bike is that when I lean a lot on the turns, I can do exactly what I can do on R3 in this bike. Just not as fast, but the same lean positioning when you lean your body towards your turns, you can apply it on this bike the same way. So if you're coming from a sport bike background and getting on a dual sport, you can apply that thing the same way. But you just won't be able to go as fast, but the basic mechanics of leaning is the same thing. So that's the review that I have on riding these canyons. It's just like, man, they're so fun. So yeah, that's for canyon riding. And then now let's try the Freeway. So here's the Freeway review. The one thing I did notice was that it's fine when I'm going about like 55, but once I start going over 60, 65, 60, that's when I start feeling the back tire kind of just like iffy. It's like, oh shit, that's what they mean when they say the death wobble. So I was feeling that, let's see, I was feeling that right about right here. I'm gonna lean, so I'm gonna lean forward. So I'm going 50s and about right here is when I started feeling the death wobble. I was like, holy crap, get me off this freeway. So I'm gonna exit right away. I'm like, nah, I can't do it. I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't recommend it. If you can ride it, more power to you. But yeah, this 250, I can just feel the back tire kind of like being iffy. I don't know if it's the tires, maybe if I put more street tires, but since I think these are 50/50 tires, I didn't want to risk it, so I'm just gonna exit. So this is my quick review of the Freeway ride. You can go 65, but I wouldn't recommend it. It just starts, you get that death wobble. So I don't know what anyone else says out there, but for me, based on that ride, I would not ride the Freeway. So moving on, we're gonna do some dirt riding here. So this is up in Agua Dulce by Santa Clarita, and you know, but most of the time I was just in first, maybe second gear, just because like this is my second time up here, and these roads are kind of uneven, so not really sure how to ride it yet. So just trying to be careful, and then most of the time I'm kind of, you know, like when I'm hitting bumps, I'm kind of like standing up. Like most of the time riding here, I'm standing up, just because, like, you know, I don't know, some of these there's that thing with off-road is like you don't know what's in front of you, so you just gotta be careful, especially if you're a beginner like me. Again, like that, you know, this is my second time on dirt, and it's just it's a little tricky, but you know, once you get the hang of it, it's fun. You know, I just couldn't wait to hit more bumps. It was just, I don't know, it's just a whole new way of riding. It's like, wow, like, you know, if you ever done any kind of BMX dirt, then this would be it. Dual sport. Like, if you know how to ride like that, then you won't have a problem riding a dual sport, standing up on it. And you can see, I'm standing up the whole time, and it's just fun. You can just rip a little. You can't really go crazy here because there's a lot of pedestrians. So, you know, I'm just in first gear most of the time. So just trying to enjoy this little dirt path. So yeah, overall, I mean, I did street, canyon, freeways, and dirt. So overall, based on this review, like, I don't regret it. Like, this bike is awesome. If you're a beginner, if you've never done dirt, I highly recommend this bike, just because, you know, it's light.
It's not, you know, it's the seat height's perfect. So if you're a short rider like myself, you're gonna have so much fun with this bike. And you know, it's got the power. It's got plenty of power for 250. You know, like this is more than enough for the kind of riding that I do, which is, you know, dirt and canyon and side street, and it does its job. So yeah, see, so right here I'm just gonna stand up and just feel those little bumps because I'm not comfortable yet. Right here I'm gonna rip it just a little bit. I'm kind of like standing up, so it's like rip it just a little bit on a straightaway. If I see, you know, like it's flat, I'll just rip it just a little bit right here too. Yeah, so it was so much fun. I can't wait to get back to it again. And then just to sum up this review, I'm gonna leave one last clip. So thank you again for watching, and hit that subscribe channel, like channel, and leave any comments. You know, if you have any advice on riding dirt or a dual sport bike, or anything that you think I should do to mod the bike, or anything that could just help me with the questions that I have. So thank you again, and I hope you guys had a good week, and ride safe. Okay, thank you.
Yes! 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 Well, I wish I could.